Hey everybody, Brooks here. Thank you for taking time to join me for this 5 for 5. Hope you're having a great day today. Hey, I wanted to take a moment to speak to you out of a couple of passages or chapters really of the New Testament in John chapter 3 and John chapter 4. And before I pull out three different faces of what trust looks like, I want to just set a little bit of a background to this and remind you that Jesus was incredibly relational. He didn't just go around preaching great messages, right, and doing a bunch of miracles and healing people and teaching in the synagogues. He was relational. I mean, he spent time with people and he loved people. And we see that here in John chapter 3 and John chapter 4. And to me, what I really want to highlight and pull out of these two chapters real quickly this morning is just a reminder that he doesn't just go after the perfect people and the people who have it all together. What you find here in John chapter 3, and I'm not going to read a lot of verses, I'm just going to kind of tell the story, but in John chapter 3, Jesus meets up with a man named Nicodemus. Now, Nicodemus was a rabbi. He was like a professional religious person. He was one of the leaders in the synagogue. He would have been well respected, probably fairly wealthy, and he would have been a part of the group that really would have been opposed to Jesus, that would have had something to do with his crucifixion a few years later. But we find here in John 3 that Nicodemus comes to Jesus, and he comes to him with some significant questions. And these aren't questions that he has the right answers to. I mean, he comes to Jesus, in a sense, from a position of confusion and questioning. Well, Jesus shares with Nicodemus. In fact, it's in that passage, John 3, where Jesus says the most famous verse of all, right? In John chapter 3, verse 16, that God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him wouldn't perish but have everlasting life. And when Nicodemus came to Jesus with serious questions, Jesus met him where he was. Well, you look a little further, John chapter 4, and you find that there's a woman that doesn't have a name listed. We just sort of know of her as the woman at the well. She'd made a lot of mistakes in life. She'd committed a lot of sins. She had a lot of insecurities, and Jesus meets up with her in kind of like a divine appointment and an everyday setting in life. She's come to the well to draw water. Jesus begins a conversation with her, and he uses that conversation not only to bring her to a place where she realizes her sin and just sort of owns it, but he also introduces himself as really the Messiah she's been waiting for, as the one who is living water that can quench every thirst of her deepest part of her life and of her heart. And so when Jesus meets her, he meets up with her, a woman who had failed, a woman who had sinned. And yet when he meets her there in that place, he reveals himself as her answer, as her solution, as her remedy through a relationship with him. You look a little further in John chapter 4, and we come across yet another official, right, in a city called Capernaum. He had a son who was very, very sick and perhaps at the point of death. And he cries out to Jesus to help. And from a distance, Jesus heals that little boy. And he tells that official, he says, "Go, because your son lives." And he met this man at the point of desperation. And he brought life out of that desperate situation. Three different people, Nicodemus, kind of a face of questioning and of confusion. Jesus met him there. A woman at the well, a face of failure and sin. Jesus met her there. And this official with a son who was on the verge of death, at a place of desperation, Jesus met him there. Hey, listen, I don't know where you are today. Maybe you're at a place of confusion, or maybe your mind is filled with questions, or maybe you're at a place where you have serious doubts, or you've blown it, and you don't know if God would ever want anything to do with you again. Listen, Jesus meets you right where you are. He doesn't wait for you to get better. He doesn't wait for you to get stronger. He doesn't wait for you to have stronger faith. If you had any of that kind of stuff all pulled together, you probably wouldn't think you needed him. But wherever you are today, he'll meet you there. But what he's looking for is trust. And just like those three, Nicodemus and the woman at the well and that official trusted him, that's what he's looking for from you today. So he'll meet you where you are, but he wants you to trust him and cry out to him, and he'll come to your rescue. Hey, listen, I hope you have a great day today. Maybe share this with somebody you think could use some encouragement. And stay tuned tomorrow for our next 5 for 5. God bless you.